The men rush through the desert in a car and arrive at a noisy place. One of them grabs a can from the refrigerator and bumps into a girl so engrossed in a movie that she doesn't notice him. He beckons the girl over, asking her to sell him soda and chips. The man tries to make conversation by pointing to a poster of Bruce Lee, calling him Jackie Chan, and it pushes her to talk to him. After the man's successful joke, the girl finally develops an affection for him in return. 3 months later, she arrives in town and tries to get to some place marked on a map. The driver of one of the buses agrees to give her a ride to the right place. Zora enters a shopping mall. Her eyes sparkle with curiosity, for she has never seen anything more civilized than her little store in the village. She works as a cashier, and 3 months later she becomes the most popular cashier in the store and the wife of the very customer, Omar. The man loved her very much, and she laughed right through to tears with everything he said. They successfully complimented each other until the truth came out. Omar hates his life, unlike Zora, and that ruins everything good. Their relationship turns into one big trap for Zora. Here he is already looking at the numbers in her phone, and here he is looking out for those who are looking at the girl. He drinks more and more, bottle after bottle. Then he started coming straight to her place of work and stalking her. In one of the arguments, he punched her in the face. From that moment on, her life changed. Her hand was raised on her. The morning after, she even had to wear sunglasses so that no one would see the marks of the blow. The girl was especially worried that she was still not pregnant. Her friend, the bus driver, immediately realized that Zora was far from having conjunctivitis and said she could tell her brothers about it, but the girl just walked away. And so, every time she would come on the bus and make up a new excuse for the beatings. Every soccer championship he had outbursts of aggression, during which he beat her. The girl realized this had to stop. One morning she ran away from him on the bus and passed out while he was trying to get in. Upon examination, it was discovered that she was pregnant. 6 years later, nothing has changed, only now Omar has started taking his daughter, and it has become even harder for the girl to get away from her rapist. Zora constantly sleeps on the couch because of her husband's snoring and is very afraid to wake him up. She decides she won't put up with this madness anymore and begins to learn the art of self-defense. Zora finds lessons on the internet from a nice man known as Jean Eve. She watched his videos for a week and practiced while even at work. She could have signed up for self-defense classes, but Omar would have found out right away, so she had to find workarounds and learn self-defense in secret. At one of her daughter's matches, Omar sends her out for a Sprite, but the machine won't give her the bottle, so she kicks it. An elderly Chinese man comes to her rescue, showing her how to get the can. She comes across an ad for a cleaning lady at the gymnasium. Zora comes in for an interview and learns that after work, she will be able to study in the gym, which is what she had hoped for. The security guard at the place is Chang Su, the same man who helped her get the can of Sprite. Zora finally believed in herself and started practicing martial arts all her free time. She even stopped taking the bus. Now she takes a jog to work. One night when she was cleaning the gymnasium, she was honing her martial arts moves, but she sensed someone's presence. It was old man Chang, who noticed her and said something incomprehensible in Chinese. He repeated only one phrase, kitchen, but the girl never understood what he meant. The man showed her a translator with only one phrase, draw your kitchen, but what did that mean? Chang gives her back her bag, which contains a small message that leads her to the mall. She confronts an older woman, but she says exactly the same thing as Chang. Zora decides not to argue and draws her kitchen. After cleaning up, she doesn't find Chang in her place. Zora was about to leave, but the man invites her into the room with the mats. The girl looks around while Chang silently watches her. Chang blindfolds himself and shows her a few moves before beginning to teach her the basics of Kung Fu. Despite the difference in their language, she still understands it. The girl spends all her free time honing her moves. When she thinks she's ready, she tells so Chang. He reluctantly pulls away from his phone and shows her a new movement. She is surprised, but immediately turns on her persistence and begins repeating the movement time after time. Her daughter wants to go to the house by the sea, but she is afraid that Omar will not allow it. Zora promises to talk to her husband. During their conversation, he does not pay attention to her. Zora tries her best to talk to him, but he just stares at the television in silence, as if she were not there. Zora is cleaning the school, as usual, until her husband shows up at the door and starts yelling at her for buying the tickets after all. He slaps her in the face, but she does nothing and stares at him silently. Then Chang intervenes in the situation and flies into the man's face. Zora is riding home on the bus and Binta suddenly announces that the bus is broken down. Everyone gets off, but she asks Zora to stay and asks about her affairs. She offers to rent her an apartment near the school. The girl can't decide to move out of her husband's house because she believes that a family should be complete. She is like a bird in a cage, and Binta keeps trying to save her. Zora thinks her daughter will not want to stay with her and will choose her husband. Binta opens the doors of the bus and escorts the girl out, telling her that as long as she keeps making excuses, she can't be helped. At night, people come to Omar with a paper on domestic violence, and he has to ride with them. Someone has complained about domestic violence in their family. As much as Zora resists, the law is stronger and the man is handcuffed. She is afraid of what will happen when her husband comes back. Zora sends her daughter to her classmate's family and waits for Omar at home. The bus pulls up in front of the house and the man leisurely steps inside. Zora is trembling like a leaf on a tree. Omar enters the apartment, leans against the wall and asks about his daughter's match. The man is looking for his daughter, and Zora says she sent her to Marion. They need to talk. Omar comes up to her and asks to see the game tape and then asks her to heat up his dinner. Zora silently does what he asks. It's hard for her to just pick up and start talking about everything that's bothering her. He guesses everything. Omar starts an argument and beats the girl. She doesn't try to resist, but her reflexes kick in and she almost fights him back, but their fight is interrupted by the doorbell. It's Marion. She has decided to take her daughter back, as she has been asking for so much. Zora slowly begins to save her money to move away from the madman. One day, Chang beckons her over to his house after work. Not long ago he said he wouldn't train her anymore, but something made him change his mind after all. He made an exact replica of her kitchen, so he asked Zora to do a drawing. One day she is eating lunch on break and sees a young girl being molested by a group of men. Zora asks the security guard to intervene, but he is so lazy that he just waits for them to disperse on their own. Sure enough, they disperse, but what's left on that girl's mind? On her next break, she is practicing on the roof when suddenly she notices the guys hitting on the girl. She decides to intervene on her own and takes the girl away. The security guard sees this, but he doesn't have time to do anything but get punched in the face. Zora sees that her stash of money is empty, goes to her husband and asks him about the money. All he does is babble something about how they shouldn't have a separate budget. She can't stand it and knocks her husband out. She would have continued, but her daughter walks into the room and Zora makes it look like Omar has fallen asleep. The next day, her husband just picked up Zina and disappeared. He didn't answer any of Zora's calls, and then just as suddenly showed up with Zina. They were at practice. The daughter doesn't want to talk to her mother at all. She doesn't answer Zora's questions to her, only tells her that Omar told her as if Zora wanted to leave them and go away. The daughter stops noticing her. Omar's tactic worked. Binta helps her get her own place, except that she will have to complain about her husband's behavior. When she returns home, she sees that Omar tries in every way to jump in front of her daughter, arranging a night of Japanese cuisine, buying tickets for a summer trip, which Zora herself used to buy. Then Omar sends a gift through his daughter for the girl herself as well. It's a martial arts CD. Omar still remembers the day they met, when she was imitating characters from a Chinese movie. Omar guessed that she was practicing the arts at the gym. But what does he achieve with these gifts? Binta shows her the apartment she is to move into. Zora continues her training with Chang. She sends her daughter on a trip with Marion and goes home. From the doorstep she is greeted as usual by her husband to the accompaniment of a soccer game. He has cleaned himself up and is waiting for her on the couch. Zora changes into Oriental clothes and puts the paper on the table. She demands a divorce and asks for closure on the matter. The girl closes the curtains and says he has no one else to hide from. Omar looks at her in silence and decides to approach her. He's not at all intimidated by the girl's fighting stance, and he tosses the divorce papers on the floor, after which he warms up on his own. Zora says that if she wins, he'll sign the papers. Omar unsuccessfully attacks the girl, but misses both times. She dodges each of his punches and expertly parries him in the shoulder, then presses him face first against the table. The training in the makeshift kitchen has not been in vain. She ends up on the couch and pretends like he beat her, but it's a trap and the girl keeps unleashing blows on him that shake the air. She uses everything in the kitchen, the refrigerator door, the frying pan, the rolling pin, rolling his fingers, while the toaster, with which she reflects his blow, warms up. He pulls out a bottle of liquor from the refrigerator and drinks it all in one gulp, after which he instantly gets drunk and rushes at the girl, but after her hardest blow he loses his coordination. She turns on the vacuum cleaner and leans it against the cubes. The man begins to choke, but manages to turn it off. After a series of blows, the man is on the floor and a neighbor rings the doorbell. She asks if they're okay, but Zora closes the door and continues the fight. Omar punches her in the face, but she punches back, and toward the end practices punch after punch on him, as if practicing on a punching bag. He pushes her to the floor and lunges with his fist, but the girl sets up the table and his fist almost breaks. She pushes the table away and knocks her husband off his feet. At the end of the fight she lets out a battle cry standing over her husband lying on the floor. He weaves his way across the floor through the broken glass and signs the divorce papers. A victory of a lifetime for her. Now it's just her and her daughter. Zora runs through town in a Chinese suit to her daughter as cars honk from everywhere. Some time passes, and now Omar enters the bus wearing glasses. Binta smiles and asks where she and Zina are going. The girl replies that they are going to her mother's house. Omar brings the girl home and reports to Zora about the impending divorce. She only offers him coffee, and he agrees, but soon remembers that he has no time for coffee and leaves. Zina calls her mother into the room to show her something. They both laugh. As a result, the daughter still has her father, it's just that her mother doesn't suffer from his beatings anymore and everyone is happy.